to get some video just of me driving around, and I'll tell you the speed I'm going, so you can kind of get a judgment of how loud it is. That was about 30, and we're coming up to a stoplight here. But I'll get you up to the interstate, so I'll go about 75, and I'll do it with the windows up first. You'll see, hopefully you can see the windows are up, and then I will do it with the windows down. That is 35, and it's already making what in my opinion is quite a bit of noise. I don't complain about it because I really like how aggressive it sounds, and I basically had to get a tire like this, not necessarily this one, but I had to get a mud tire for when I go to duck camp and deer camp, because I just have to have something that I can trust is not going to leave me out in the bush. I'm always pulling trailers, but a Jeep just doesn't do what I need to do. Pulling Rangers and four-wheelers and just different side-by-sides, and having to pull friends out on occasion, I really just had to have a truck. The Jeep just doesn't have the power it needed to do that. It barely, honestly, has the power to turn the tires it has. Alright, so we're pulling up to the interstate here, and we're getting on the on-ramp. So I'll just kind of call the speed up as I go up by like 10s. So this is 30, this is 40, 50, 60, 70, and then 75, and I'll set cruise there. But it does give off quite a bit of noise. Well, cars are going 60 in front of me, so we gotta slow down. But I'll go ahead and roll the windows down so you can kind of get a feel for how loud that is. And that was just at 65. I don't complain about the noise. Honestly, it's kind of soothing to me, but everybody asks. I've had multiple people who drive Jeeps and trucks get in my truck and complain about how loud it is. I am having to talk quite a bit louder than I normally would, just to make sure that the camera actually picks it up. And you definitely, if you have the windows down, you are not having a conversation with the person in the back seat. There's just no way. It's just honestly not gonna happen. You can't hear him whatsoever. That's one thing I've had to do is I try to save gas, and so I try not to run my air conditioner whenever I don't absolutely have to. Like today it's 95, and I'm just kind of suffering through it. It's kind of hard to do when you have an all black interior, but I try to save gas. That being said, I get 12.1. I actually get a little bit better than that because I go farther than the truck says I do, because I didn't ever recalibrate anything for bigger tires. So I probably get more like 12.3, 12.4. 2010 BF Goodrich KO. That was before they came out with the KO2, but it's practically the same styling of tire. It's just an all-terrain tire that's pretty mildly aggressive. Like it's not a really overbearing or loud tire. It's honestly a lot quieter than the KO2 is. And I got 13 miles to the gallon on that tiny little tire that came stock with my truck. 13 miles to the gallon stock. That is awful. And dropping half a mile per gallon for a 35, and that's not pulling trailers. That's just driving around town and mostly interstate. I had to drive. I just got back from Colonia not long ago, and I got 12.3. I got up to 12.3 on a 60 mile per hour, just cruising along. I always set cruise, trying to save any gas I can. I try to keep it below 2,000 RPMs. My next upgrade, I think, is going to be a tuner, because most of what I drive is highway and interstate, so I should be able to see a little bit of increased gas mileage. I also thought about getting a exhaust and a K&N air filter, or I'm sorry, an air intake, not just the filter, a full intake. Hopefully get some gas mileage out of that. I don't expect a whole lot. I expect to get maybe 15 miles to the gallon after all that. But 13 miles to the gallon stock is horrible. And that was with my dad driving, and he's a pretty conservative driver. But last month alone, I spent nearly $700 on gas. Granted, I had to fill my parents' cars up maybe twice, but that's still $500 at least on gas, probably more. I was pulling trailers. I had to pull the Ranger. I had to pull the Ranger about 2 hours a day for a week, and then I drove to Little Rock, which is about a 45-minute drive, for the next week. So I put a lot of miles on the truck, but $500 to $600 easily just from what I spent on gasoline. That's awful, and I can't do that. So now I don't have to drive that far with that much weight anymore, at least for a little while. I'm selling the four-wheeler, and we don't have time to take the Ranger many places anymore, just because I'm working and my parents are working. So I get to leave my truck in a parking lot all day, which I don't really complain about, because I'm not having to spend money on gas, and I'm not having to I'm actually getting to earn some money, which is awesome. So yeah, it's loud. That was 60 back there, that long cruise. That was all 60 after I got off the interstate. But here, I'll show you. I'm about to hit a bump. I'm going 30, and I'm gonna hit a bump and just show you how. That's a good sized bump. You won't be able to realize that, but that used to shake my truck, and if I had hit that going 30 before I lifted my truck, it literally would have kicked the back end out. I don't know why it does that, but it does. If you hit a bump, it literally, unless you hit it perfect, it kicks the back end pretty significantly out. It's kind of surprising with it weighing as much as it does that it still moves that much around, but going with a full Fox shocks and everything like that, that you're gonna hate your shocks and your whole suspension is gonna be horrible. But I've not found that to be the case at all. In fact, I found that it rides a lot smoother. It hits bumps so much better, and my family has the Jeep Rubicon on full Fox suspension, everything, and my mom has a Yukon XL GMC with their expensive magnetic suspension. And of any of our vehicles, my truck rides the best. And I was told that the strut spacer up front that I showed you earlier, I was told that will make your truck ride like crap. And I was told that if I got the rear block that I got, that my